Hey everyone, it is week 5. Week 5. This has been one of the most transformative weeks thus far for me personally. I made it through my week of no consumption of books, TV, social media. And when I say it like opened the floodgates of creativity, can drastically tell a difference. My last day of the week for that no consumption week was Wednesday, so Thursday, Friday, and Saturday I consumed without guilt. However, I realized that I became a lot more cloudy. I took a lot more breaks. I was just a little more lax on myself, which I'm not mad at either because artists need time to do nothing. And I did a lot this week. I did a lot for myself. I spent time with friends. I feel like this is a very even and balanced week. Anyways, let me get into it. First things first, the artist pages. I did my pages every day this week, and I am very proud of myself for that. The artist date, I not only did, but I didn't push it out till the end of the week, so I was able to layer more into it. And I'll say that I kind of had to. I'm not even going to call it 2 dates because I shouldn't consider physical activity and like taking care of my body as part of it. However, as I try to unlock the parts of me that are dance resistant, I'm going to consider any date that gets me moving, or I'm going to consider any activity that gets me moving as part of my artist date. So anyway, this week I got to the gym early enough to have the Mind Body Studio to myself for about an hour fumbling, and I realized through this process that I might be in a new era. I might be exploring a new chapter of myself because I know what it took and what it takes to be a dancer at a professional level. I can't say that I'm necessarily aspiring for that. So I know that if I want to get dance conditioned again the way that I was, it's going to take a lot of work for me. My body isn't used to things anymore, and the more seasoned I get, the older I get, it's harder to bounce back or snap back to those previous defaults, right? And forgive how sleepy I look. It has been a long ass week, and I squeezed this part of the video out. Anywho, so I had my dance date. So that hour in the studio, I was just kind of figuring myself out, trying new things, going over old things. It was honestly a lot of fumbling. I know the clips I inserted are very much the highlight reel, but it was challenging. And then I followed that up with a Pilates class, followed by a bar class, which nobody really got me into what that was, for real. So I was sore for the next 48 hours because I don't know who I thought I was going in raw dogging 3 hours of physical fitness like that. Anyway, that wasn't even like the chunk of my artist day. So I really made an intentional date. I realized last week that I wasn't being as intentional with that aspect of my life. I made a plan to have a day trip to Baltimore. If you know me, I adore Baltimore. I love that city so much. So I scheduled a wax. I got my Brazilian wax. I'm pretty sure I got the real live footage from it. I wanted to pop in really quickly to talk about how my artist date is going so far. So I just got a Brazilian, so you know I'm feeling like a whole new bitch. Okay. But also, because it's around my birthday, I got a discount on my Brazilian. However, I say however a lot. Well, anyways, I used my discount for my wax, and then when I left, I'm walking back to my car, and there's somebody in front of me walking, and they turn around, lock eyes with me, and then say, "Hey, how are you doing? Are you able to give me something to drink?" And I'm like, "Absolutely. Okay, where are you heading?" I'm like, "I'll follow you." So we walked to the corner. I went to the deli. They just wanted a 2-liter, and I was just like, "No, grab whatever else you want." And I don't know, it just felt really good to be used by the Creator, to be where I'm supposed to be in the right place at the right time, to be a blessing to whoever needs it. And all she wanted was a drink, and I got her, about $15 worth of snacks, and it just made me feel good to do so. So now I am heading on to the next part of my artist date. I'm going to get these eyebrows done, and then I'm gonna go post up at a cafe to work and write. Ironically, I guess this is a synchronicity, but on my way out there, the navigation took me literally right past my old building that I used to live in. So I had those bittersweet feelings, but a little bit of nostalgia. I just love Baltimore so much, genuinely. The people, it's actual community. Actual community. This week with the Artist Way is about being used, really, by the creator, that is. And this is my first time. I kind of want to gatekeep this location because this is my new work spot, so I don't know that I'm going to announce this. However, it took me so much to not invite somebody into my date because I'm in Baltimore. I'm in a city with a lot of creatives that I love, respect, a lot of friends and peers. So I just took in the ambiance. I did my pages in the cafe, outlined that short film that came to me in the grocery store last week, and had a nice, cute soul food vegan meal in the midst of Black creatives. When I say you can tell by the aesthetic, by the dress, by the vibe, by the walk, by the fact that everybody had their laptops out or their tablets or whatever it be, that I was in the midst of creative professionals, and it just felt right. Just felt right. You know, that collective energy, even though people aren't working on what I'm working on, knowing that everybody is in their creative bag, you feel that it's a vibe. So I don't know if this will be a weekly thing for me, but it may be. It's a perfect vibe for me. Everyone who knows that I'm not too fond or keen of being in the US knows that if I have to be here, it's gonna be Baltimore. I'm gonna be over in Portland somewhere. Anywho, in the weekly check-in, they ask if the leisureness or the leisure that you find in your artist date, did it make space for you to hear answers? I'll say yes and no. I think I was so focused on getting it right this week and making sure that I had an artist date that wasn't an afterthought. So I don't think that I was really in tune to the messages, if that makes sense. Like, this is kind of personal, but some days my ADHD is bad, and I was working and I want to go take a picture of my meal, and I realized that I have lost my phone somewhere in the establishment. So something was like, Brooke, it's here, relax, enjoy your meal. And I literally started fucking sweating. Like, I can't. So I'm like scurrying around, trying not to look anxious while I'm looking for my phone. And I find it in the bathroom stall. That was that. So there's just a lot of me having to be aware of myself. Sometimes when I'm by myself, I can be aloof at times. I'm working on that. So yeah, that's my artist date. I had a great time. I spent hours in the cafe, and at the end I met herself, and she is a spry and fly 70-year-old woman who, I don't know, it's just a ball of energy and personality. And I will be back to check out her boutique and visit some of the artist spaces upstairs. So this week's synchronicities. Jupiter stationed direct on the 4th. And when I say everything began to move abundantly, quickly, swiftly. And if you know me, y'all know I love Jupiter and the connection runs deep. That's my planet, baby. I've had a couple people ask me why Jupiter is not on my YouTube. It is because I have it unlisted because it's being submitted for other opportunities. Somehow Jupiter is the gift that keeps on giving. So, I'm talking about my Jupiter, my creative piece, not the planet. But Jupiter, the planet, stationed direct on the 4th, and a new proposal for Jupiter to enter a grand space was sent out on that date. Black magic actually has a legitimate deadline in sight. Found a colorist. I can't even explain it with the excitement that I had, but it's been forward moving since. So I look at that as a synchronicity. And an old friend of mine hit me up on TikTok letting me know that he is leaving Baltimore after exiting a 5-year relationship, very similar to my departure from Baltimore. This used to be my bestie, like my bestie. So it's kind of bittersweet how we are coming back together, but I am excited to reconnect with them. This is a friend from childhood and adolescence that I shared my dreams with, that I danced with, that I modeled with, that I'd love to take pictures of him. We created together and dreamed together at a very young age. So that is another synchronicity. That week of no consumption really did clear my path, because as soon as I started introducing things back into my life, started becoming a little bit more cloudy, a little bit more anxious, and it makes me want to restart that process again. So I think I'm going to start fresh at the top of the week, tomorrow on Monday, and welcome that back in for another week. I have set some pretty wild deadlines for myself for things this month, so that should help me stay committed to it. I did a few tasks for the week. One of them was to create an image file. Basically, what I took that as is like a vision board, really, of the dream lives, or these fantasy lives, if you will, that help inform what you really want. So I started that process using Pinterest this time, just because I don't have access to magazines at this moment. And one of the other tasks was to list 10 material things, or I didn't even really specify that. It said 10 items that I would like to own that I don't currently, and then add pictures of these things to the image file. So I wrote down 10 things, and one of the things that I wrote down is also tied into that grand artist date they like to remind you about every week. That intentional one, that adventurous one, artist date that feels risky, if you will, or almost impossible. So for me, because my birthday falls in the winter and it's always cold and snowy and shit, I want to treat myself to Cowboy Carter tickets in Paris. I would like to be a nigga in Paris come Juneteenth. It's an outlandish gift. It's not really in alignment with my financial goals or anything that I have going on, but I deserve. And very rarely, if ever, do I just plan something strictly recreational. I used to try to find ways to work something so that I'd be places, but no, I just want to do this just to enjoy myself. Why not? I guess there was a bit of a download when I was dancing at the studio, because there's a few creative projects that require my creative direction and my choreography that I was originally going to make myself a part of. And as I was struggling and fumbling through the studio, it made me wonder if maybe I should just continue behind the camera and keep putting my work on other bodies. Because when I first started doing photo shoots, creative concept videos and things, I used myself as a model because I wanted to prove my concepts. At this point, nobody knew what I could do. Nobody cared. So I did what I had to do, and very often that put me in like a modeling box, and that was never an aspiration for me, ever in my life. So sometimes the hold up on some of my visions is like, I gotta get back in shape, I gotta do this, that, and the third. What if I just work with dancers who are doing it and haven't stopped? What if I just put it on their bodies and just put my name behind the project? That's a very real thing too. So yeah, I'm so tired, guys, that I'm going to leave this here. I'm trying to get better at making these videos short and sweet, not damn 20 minutes long. So until next week. I'm very much so in the middle of this process, and my lack of consumption last week allowed me to avoid a lot of the worldly things that were going on. As soon as I tapped back in, it was immediate overwhelm and made me realize there's some fear present there. I've always been a I'll get up and go, I'll move out this country type of person. But admittedly, with all of these plane crashes and things and just everything that's rapidly happening in the US, part of me just doesn't want to get stuck. I just don't want to get stuck. But the other part of me, the community organizer in me, won't allow me to not prep people here before I go. It doesn't seem virtuous to me. It doesn't feel good to me to save myself and still be worrying about everybody here, my family, my friends, etc. Yeah, that was also part of this week, is figuring out what our virtue traps are, the things that stop us based on our virtues, whether that be family, friends, beliefs, religions, whatever it be. And I realized I guilt myself a lot on like who and what gets my attention. I often feel like my family gets the short end of the stick, and my friends just recently started getting more energy from me. But as 3 of my friends asked to meet weekly with me, that means that 3 days out of my week now are committed to other people. And it made me realize, okay, I am feeling a lot better, a lot more outgoing. But I gotta mind my energy. I gotta remember that this process is for me and that I have to carve time out for me just as easily as I will carve time out to commit to other people. So, yes, next week will likely be challenging in a different way because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna come on my period. So I hope it doesn't affect my motivations too much or my energy towards the things that I've been working on. But so far, so good. And when I was doing the virtue trap quiz, one of the questions was I sabotage myself so that people will blank. And I could have had an answer for that. Like, old Brug definitely was self-sabotaging so that other people can have community, so that people would like me and accept me, respect me. I personally don't give a damn anymore. But I couldn't come up with an answer for that particular question now, because I know what old me would have said, but I don't think this me is sabotaging myself so that other people can anything. Maybe I need to dig a little deeper. Yeah, I'm happy to say that self-sabotage is not one of my main qualities. We've done a lot of healing and a lot of work over the last couple of years. So overall, the more I allow play into my life, the more I work with intention. I feel far more intentional, and playing more, it's actually making me work smarter as well. So I'm gonna commit to this. I begin week 6 tomorrow, and this is a 12-week / lifetime process. So I'm nearing the halfway mark. I'm glad I'm recording this stuff so I can go back and reflect real time and see my growth real time. Yeah, I think growth is happening. Okay, so I hear that it's good to create in delirium, so I'm going to try to write a little bit before I knock out tonight. So thank y'all for joining me for week 5. I will see you next week.